Your biggest competition may not be the brands that you're watching, but it's certainly the brands that your customers are. You can't outmarket what you don't understand.
Let's go. I don't know what comes next, but I couldn't care less. I refuse to feel stressed. There's no fear in my chest. Hear the boom of my steps. Walk away from the pain I've been through. This feeling I'm feeling is brand new. This is the moment I break through.
Welcome to 10-Minute Masterclass, your weekly mic drop for business breakthrough. I'm your host and lead MC, Trey Sheneman, and each week on 10-Minute Masterclass, our goal is to translate timeless business principles into ways to help you solve today's business problems. Now, I've run growth inside of some of the largest brands people know, and whether it was when I was running growth in those brands or taking my own startups to market, growth was always a factor of what I call one of the four core drivers of growth: marketing, sales, operations, and leadership. And so it's our goal on this podcast every time to give you a deep dive into one of those four drivers. Today's episode is in the marketing growth driver. And specifically, it's a continuation from episode 2, if you got a chance to listen to that, where we walked through the compass, which is our strategic way that we help brands grow at our company, Herald. And today, we're going to do a deep dive into the C of the compass method, which is competitive set analysis. Now, when you're thinking about competitive set analysis, it's important that you understand that every business competes, whether they know it or not. Now, you cannot understand your competition if you only choose to think about your direct competitors. Really good competitive set analysis understands the mix between analyzing your direct competition and your indirect competition. So let's jump in. Your direct competition is people who offer similar services to you do to the same audience. An indirect competitor would be someone else who offers a different sort of service or product to the same audience that's trying to solve the same problem or drive the same outcome that you are. They're just doing it in a different way. So let me give you an example. Let's take Nike. Nike's one of my favorite brands. Nike has both direct and indirect competition. Nike's direct competition would be somebody like Adidas. Adidas is selling shoes, they're selling clothing, they're doing very similar things to Nike, even though they both would probably say they're selling the outcome that the shoes and the clothing drive, or the aspired future that those things drive, but they're selling very similar things. An indirect competitor of Nike would be Peloton. They're targeting the same sports-driven audience, people that wear athletic wear. Peloton even sells, some of their own athletic wear as well. So they're competing for the same fitness-focused, like self-improvement crowd. They just might not be viewed as direct competitors in the same manner. So some of the mistakes we see at Herald when clients come to us that businesses are making is they actually have if they've even done a competitive set analysis, they actually have it reined in a little too far. So one of the first exercises that I like people to do is to list out who you believe your 3 to 5 direct competitors are. The way that I say this is, when you lose, who do you know that you lose to? So get that list going, and then make sure that you have 1 or 2 indirect competitors, people that are competing for the attention of your target customer, whether you realize it or not. And if you really want to get to the bottom of this, just ask your customers, who else are they buying products from? That's another great way to really understand the true array of your competitive set to start with. So once you've done that research and you actually know who the competition is that you want to analyze, today's episode is about the steps that you would now take in order to do this competitive set analysis. And I'm going to make it really simple for you. There are 5 P's that you're going to walk through in order to do what I would call the 5 P's of a proper competitive set analysis. So the first P that you're going to analyze when you've got this competitive set laid out is you're really going to lean into pricing, and not just what do they charge, but more, how are they charging? Are they intentionally trying to be the premium player in the class? Are they trying to be the more budget-friendly player in the class? Are they really leaned into a recurring kind of a position where you pay for it in small increments over time? Is it a one-and-done transactional model versus a recurring model? When I think about pricing and the way that pricing works, I think about maybe like Apple versus maybe Samsung. Apple, they're both, they might be similar price, but it always feels like Samsung's trying to undercut Apple. Or another way of saying it is Verizon versus T-Mobile. T-Mobile is trying to be that all things everybody kind of a pricing approach, whereas Verizon is sort of holding their line as the more premium cell service carrier provider, at least to the ads that I see and the way that they charge. In computers, if you go to that side of Apple's business, like Apple is definitely more expensive. It's the premium option compared to, say, like a Dell or an HP. Like those are, like, in my opinion, cheap computers that aren't going to last. So pricing isn't just the dollars, it's the perception around the price. So that's the first P. The second P is positioning. Positioning is anchored to what the brand stands for. Like, what are they known for? Like, what fights are they taking up in the public eye? Have they made any really big promises and delivered on those promises as a brand in the recent history? Are they taking an angle like luxury or affordability or speed or efficiency? Like, what are the things that those brands are saying about themselves? And more importantly, like, what are you saying about yourself? And making sure you understand that. We're Tesla owners in our household. And when I think about Tesla versus, say, Toyota, Tesla is trying to sell a desired future, a lifestyle with their car, and innovation. Toyota is selling dependability, trustworthiness, reliability. Sidebar, last year was the first year that the Camry has been outsold. The Tesla Model Y sold more models than the Camry last year. And so, Tesla must be doing something because, they're stealing the economy market share in an innovative way from Toyota. So the key takeaway here is if you don't define your position, the competition will do it for you. They will single you out. Their differentiation will ring true in the market more than yours will. Are you ready for predictable growth in your business? Then I encourage you to check out the Compass Method. It's the unique framework we use for businesses to help them grow to $10 million and beyond. If you're interested in finding out more, shoot me an email at trey@weareherald.co. So once you've done price and position, then you have to do product. What exactly are they selling? Are they really selling the same thing as you in a different way? Are they not? Are they selling bundles? Are they selling a value ladder where you buy one thing on the front end and they kind of resell you over time, what we would refer to as like a land and expand strategy? What's their customer support around their product? When I think about some subscriptions that come to mind in this space around kind of comparing some product offerings and really leaning into how they're uniquely different, Amazon and Walmart Plus are both kind of in the shipping business. But I think we can all agree that I think the perception around the product of what Amazon offers is systematically higher in my mind than what Walmart Plus offers. I couldn't even really tell you what Walmart Plus offers. I just went to Walmart last week at the beach for the first time in months. But I can tell you right now, Amazon packages show up on my doorstep every week. Shout out to my wife. And so, But if you've ever gone to cancel either one of those things, which is an exercise that I did, I had to look up the Walmart Plus because we're not subscribers. The number of things you get in the product for an Amazon subscription compared to a Walmart Plus subscription is bananas, not to mention all the free streaming and everything else. So your product doesn't necessarily have to be the best, even though in this scenario, I think Amazon is better than Walmart Plus. It just has to be positioned the best. The perception around it has to be strong. So that brings us to the fourth one, which is perception. What do customers actually think? Your brand is the reputation of your product in your customer's mind. So are there patterns in your praises or complaints? What are they actually saying? Are you the McDonald's of your market where you're the cheap, unhealthy option? Are you the Five Guys of the market, which is the premium, like tasty, worth the wait? They're both burgers, right? But they're very different perceived experiences in the market. You're ultimately, you need to understand the perception of your brand is your brand, and you got to be willing to control the narrative. The last P is promise. Like, what is the risk reversal that you're doing? Do you offer guarantees? Does your comp set offer guarantees? In the pizza world, recently Domino's was running a campaign, if it's not there in 30 minutes, it's free. I mean, what a promise to be standing on from a competitive set standpoint. So you need to understand, if you can remove more risk than your competition can, you can decrease hesitation towards your brand. And decreases in hesitation means more buyers. So promise is a great thing to understand. So at the end of the day, to do a really effective competitive set analysis, you got to know who your direct and indirect competitors are. And then you got to run those brands and your own brand through the 5 Ps: price, perception, promise, product, and positioning. Price, promise, perception, product, and positioning. Doesn't matter the order. You can do them any sort of order. Once you have all of that data, promise me, you will drill into that data, and in each one of those categories, you will figure out where you are unique, and that is where you can outmarket the competition. Until next time on 10 Minute Masterclass, we'll see you on the flip side.